are going to be making some Mexican charro beans, and this is the first step. You want to soak them for at least 12 to up to 48 hours. It really just depends. It's going to cut down your cooking time if you do soak them longer. But otherwise, you know, you can really just get away with soaking them for about 12 hours. I've already had these soaking, so the next step is just to drain this water and put some new water and seasonings in a pot. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so here I've got my pot. What I would typically do is saute some onion in this pot, but it just happens that I'm out of onion. That's totally fine. If that's the case for you, you can just go ahead and replace it with some onion powder. Just know that because we're making a fair amount of beans here, you're going to need a lot of onion. So I'm out of onion, but I just so happen to have this onion salt from Trader Joe's. So granulated onion, granulated garlic, minced onion, kosher salt, green onion, and dry chives. So you really get a variety of onions. And yeah, when you're in a pinch and you don't have any fresh onion, I would definitely say this is a great go-to. So let's go ahead and add a sizable amount. The beans that you just saw, that was about a pound of soaked beans. I'm not sure that's all going to fit in one pot, but this is at least for the amount of half a pound of soaked beans. Fair amount of salt. I use this Morton light salt. It's got the iodine, but it has less salt than a table salt. So let's go ahead and get a generous 1 to 2 tablespoons in here as well. As you can see, it's probably 1 and 2, because this is essentially our broth. If you did something like to make your broth with vegetable broth, then you wouldn't need all this, but essentially we're making our vegetable broth. Next, I have this garlic powder, also from Trader Joe's, and I'm going to go ahead and again just add in 1 to 2 tablespoons. Most likely, since it's garlic, I'm going to do 2. As you can see, just a nice heaping mound there. All-time favorite trade secrets of any recipe is 21 Seasoning Salute, and if you haven't used this before, you're really missing out. It just has a bunch of different spices that all come together really well, and I'm just going to do maybe 1 teaspoon of this just to get a couple of those other things in there. So actually I'm not. I ended up doing the same. 1 to 2 tablespoons. And then the final secret ingredient, as far as these spices go, is South African Smoke, also by Trader Joe's. This could be Mexican Charro Beans by Trader Joe's. But the thing about this is that a lot of people, when they traditionally make Mexican charro beans, they use ham hock to get like a smoked ham bacon-esque type of flavor, and this is the dupe that will leave them being like, what? These beans are any different than the beans I've already been eating? They won't be able to tell the difference, and everybody loves them. It does give it a little kick, a little spice, but more than anything, it just gives you that smoke flavor that most charro beans, Mexican beans, would have. So let's go ahead and add in a decent dollop of this as well. Want to do at least half of all that you're doing, if not a quarter, African Smoke to all your seasoning. So if you did 2 tablespoons of garlic, just do a quarter tablespoon of African Smoke. Keep it within a decent proportion. But yes, that is the secret spice ingredient. The next and final ingredient is going to be something to add just a tinge more heat. So this is going to be actual heat. You can use a serrano pepper or a jalapeno pepper. Serrano peppers invariably make me cry and burn. So I'm going to use a jalapeno. I'm going to go ahead and take this and add it to our pot. So normally in here I'd already have some onions sauteing, and then I would have added all the seasoning and then the pepper. But since I didn't have the onion, I had to go ahead and use that onion salt. But now we're going to go ahead and add in our beans just to see how many the pot can kind of handle, because we're still going to need about double the space, or at least equal the space, I should say, for water. So let's start doing that. I've already drained them, and I'm just going to add them about a cup at a time. Okay, so now I've added just the first cup of beans. Always want to rinse your beans after soaking them for some time, because that whole process of soaking them pulls out a lot of the starches, and those starches and such that it pulls out are not necessarily the best for you. So you just want to go ahead and rinse those off, whether you're doing beans like this that you soak yourself, or if you buy them pre-soaked, as in canned beans. Alright, so now you can see we've got this pan almost all the way full, but like an inch. So now we definitely want to add in the water and get them boiling. They're going to take about 1 to 1.5 hours, maybe even 2, to boil, fully cook at a really slow boil. And we don't want to be adding a bunch of water because it'll dilute our vegetable stock that we're making. So let's just go ahead and get this water in and go from there. Alright, so once I've got my water added, before I stir it, the last thing that I'm going to do is add in some oil. Anytime we have beans and then the traditional like ham hock, some fats are going to be released through that process, so we want to just mimic that by adding in a little fat. Add in your favorite oil. I'm just going to add in a little bit, and by little I mean about a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Let's go ahead and get these beans heated up and start to do a slow boil. If you prefer, you could also do this in a slow cooker, crock pot kind of thing, but I'm just going to put these on the stovetop at a slow boil for about 1.5 to 2 hours. Now I want to go ahead and start turning these, getting those spices all mixed around. And at this point you can see if you have enough water. I think we definitely do. You want a little bit of liquid in charro beans, but not a terrible amount. And the beans will absorb some of this, so I think this is a perfect amount. Got it lidded, so we will go ahead and leave it on the stovetop for 1.5 to 2 hours. One of my all-time favorites, which are these corn and wheat tortillas from Trader Joe's. They've got the flexibility of a flour tortilla, but the taste of a corn tortilla. So you get the best of both worlds. Veg Girl's take on some charro beans, and I guarantee that your guests will be none the wiser that these are vegan, because they've got that great African smoke with that hint of heat and depth and complexity that comes with a smoke ingredient, and they'll be just delighted. Alright, veg peeps, give these a try and let me know what you think. Take care!